Alright, hello YouTube. So here's the world download that you'll get if you pick the world download, or each of the individual medics that I'm going to basically publish on everywhere I'm going to publish basically. Alright, so let's start with the rates that you're gonna get. So these are the rates: 11,750 stamps per hour on the warp mode. On Crimson, it's going to be slightly lower, but not that dramatic. And the Shroomlight rates are calculated apart. So the actual number I got here for the warp mode is with the collection for the Shroomlights disabled. So it's probably going to go down by like 50 stamps per hour or so on both modes if you collect the Shroomlights. Although even if you don't collect the Shroomlights, you're still gonna get like about, if I remember correctly, 500 Shroomlights per hour. That's because I've copied the filters on the Chinese version of my farm, basically, that beat me, and it was just way easier to just keep this trapdoor closed rather than locking the filter itself. So it's going to suck one item every time that there's a batch of Shroomlights going in here. And so yeah. So I've made a storage system that should work actually on this farm, because, well, apparently quite a few people want that, and so I actually spent a full day redesigning the farm just to accommodate for that, and I shrunk also the footprint, and that led to a few, you could say, a little bit awkward bits of wiring, especially in here. Personally, I think it was fun. So yeah. And for the MSPT is actually pretty fucking low, which means that you could actually, for just 15 MSPT, you could get 100,000 stamps per hour. Just for 15. You just have to build 10 of these. Or maybe you could just take these instead, and well, I mean, take this version and wire the collection and all of that stuff together or something, and you could actually lower a little bit the MSPT by grouping everything together, and that will also diminish a little bit the build effort it would require you. But anyways, just a suggestion. So if you want to actually use the farm, you just gotta flick this lever over here, and it's going to actually start running. Just make sure when you actually build this, there are some pistons, like in here, for example, that seem to have no purpose. Like, you could actually transmit a signal cheaper just by using repeaters and shit, but actually you want to keep the piston because we need to synchronize the moment where we when we send the signal, and well, you need these pistons for that. Repeaters are not gonna cut it because you need to offset the signal by like 1 game tick, so that's important to keep these pistons. Anyways, so yeah, once you turn that on, the clock is over here. That's gonna clock the farm and the, well, the core and the TNT dupers, and everything else just activates by itself with some other detection methods. If you want to actually change the tree type that you're going to harvest and you want to actually use crimson, you should just come over here on top, break these stems, enter in here, and from there you can actually change the nylium type. Also, also, I should point out that I've done my testing for the rates outside of random tick range, just because it's going to improve the rates a little bit. And you should expect to lose maybe 50 stems per hour if you run it in random tick range, which means like if you're close by while it runs, not a big deal. So you can AFK right next to it or AFK far away. And this is why we have this chunk loader in here. No, I didn't wire it actually. But I mean, the blocks are all in here. So all you have to do is just put a minecart in there, and whenever you flick the lever to activate the farm, the actual detection for the dispenser in here is going to send the cart into the portal. And in here, I've put just a basic portal that you're going to replicate, and this is what you're going to put in the nether side. And so you want to keep the actual position of the minecart relative to the coordinates, like north, south, west, and east. So when it goes in here, and the nether side is going to go in here, then it's gonna come out here and go here on the overworld side. So yeah, pretty basic stuff. So you want to keep also the proportion of the portal the same. I've basically chose to build this portal like that just because I like having the same portal that's going to serve for the chunk loader as it's going to serve for the actual entrance to the farm, because that way I don't have to mess with the portal linking, and I prefer it that way. If you want to do it another way, break that and make your own farm. I already have these two other designs if you want to change stuff around. So yeah, if you go to this design, what I've removed basically is the box holders in here, the empty shulker boxes storage in here, as well as the storage for your full shulker boxes. So you would have your shroom lights in here, crimson, and warp logs. And in here you want to put your empty shulk boxes. You'll notice that the storage for empty boxes is smaller than the actual storage for the rest of the stuff. So yeah, you kind of have to resupply a few shulk boxes in here every now and then. You should be able to run that for like at least a week non-stop before you actually need to resupply shulker boxes. And if you use stackable shulker boxes, man, you'll be good for a year. Although this is going to overflow, so actually you won't be good for a year. Aside from that, I guess I can start to break down every component of the farm. Oh, I should add, if you want to actually collect the shroom lights, more than 500 per hours, you flick that, and then you're going to collect like 2,500. Okay, so let's go over how the farm actually works, I guess. This is going to be quite crammed, so let's go over this design instead, and we'll put some wool over the uppers so that it doesn't run out of anything. Alright, so like that we should be good. So I'm gonna flick this lever, and basically the farm starts with this node block over here, which is going to push this slider, which pushes these slimestone bars, I guess you could call them, and they're going to push these pistons up for 6 game tick instead of wasting 2 game tick with some repeaters set on 2. So that's slightly faster. And just as the Nalium goes back down over here, the Nalium is going to get bone mealed at the perfect timing. And then the dispensers are also going to fire with a close enough to perfect timing. They're going to fire 4 times every time you make a half a cycle. Half a cycle would be like it pushes up, then you can see that the Nalium shifts. So you get 1 push up, then 1 shifting for every cycle. So half a cycle is 1 Nalium bone milling attempt, basically. We bone mill the Nalium with this slider over here that you can see with these observers. And these observers are going to power the dispensers needed to bone mill the Nalium through these blocks. And these blocks are controlled by these pistons over here. And these, if you go to the actual fully fleshed out versions of the farm, they're going to be wired to the bone meal intake, and depending on how much bone meal you have, it's going to shift these blocks back and forth, and that's going to control the amount of dispensers that fire. So you might have only 1 or 2 dispensers that fire, depending on how much bone meal you can afford to actually spend. And the dispenser placement is different from the placement that was on the farm on Bilibili, which greatly changed the rates of the farm. So the farm on Bilibili used a dispenser on this location as well as on this location. So the dispensers were centered around the core, and that makes bone milling, you could say, more efficient per bone meal, but you don't actually want to have this the most efficient possible per bone meal. You just want to use all of the bone meal that the farm actually gives you back, because otherwise you're just collecting bone meal for no purpose, because you're not going to run this farm just in order to produce bone meal. You're running this farm to produce stems per hour. And the Bilibili farm, if I remember correctly, produced like 2,000 bone meal per hour. Like fucking 2,000. If they used these 2,000 bone meal on the farm instead, they could have raised the rates by quite a bit, but they chose not to, and that's why my farm is faster. So offsetting these dispensers to the side is going to make sure that we have a higher concentration of fungi generation across the whole Nalium floor. So basically, the way that the the dispensing of the Nalium works. When you actually going to pick some colors like, yeah, let's go with green. When it bone mills, you have the highest concentration on the center, and then every block out that it goes is going to have a lesser concentration of vegetation overall, and also of fungi. It's probably not the exact colors I should use, because even these blocks would be different. Like, it's shaped as a circle, not quite as a perfect like how would I call that? Not quite a diamond shape. So yeah, the highest concentration is in the center, and that's why if you actually bone meal closer to the edges, you're going to get a higher concentration of fungi across the whole core. I mean, do I need to go over anything else about the core? I don't really want to break down all of the path of the wiring. That shit is pretty dense and hard to actually visualize. Over here, I tried a few blocks to actually see how I could waterlog this part. So I've tried rails, I've tried trapdoors, and from my testing, using actual slabs seems to be the most efficient block to put in here. And that's mostly because when you actually have blocks that float without touching a block under, they're going to float much quicker than if they have a block under. And so that helps the items get out of the farm faster and reduces the chances that they'll be blown up by the TNT on both sides. And these are new modules that I've made to be a little bit faster, and they're more compact, I think, also than the previous ones that I made for the first one. And yeah, I guess I have no more comments to add on this. I guess I could explain the collection system that I've made on the fully fleshed out farm. So the items are obviously going to go from to the side, then they're going to go to a central place over here, and then they're going to go to the stack separator. The stack separator clock is regulated by this little contraption with the trapdoor that triggers this this clock that sends the items that are in this wrapper into this hopper. And basically, you just have a bunch of items that are sitting in here, and whenever the farm works, you have items that are going to go onto this pressure plate, and that's going to basically send all of the items that are in here into this hopper. And every time that we push items, you have one item into this hopper that's going to make it back to the dropper. And so if I turn off the farm and we go back to see this thing over here, you'll see that whenever we stop having items, I think that was the last batch, our items are slowly going to go back into this dropper. And so that way we can control how much time after we've had our last items this is going to keep clocking. and as soon as this hits 0, this stops firing. And I've also wired these dropper towers that control the feeding of the empty shulker boxes to fire at the same time that this clocks. So that won't clock too often, but it's not on a detection either. Oh, I should have said that earlier, but over here you've noticed that there's a bell. So if you actually run the farm and you lose bone meal efficiency because something broke, that's going to send a signal through here all the way to here, and that's going to change the power states of a bunch of stuff and make a noise with this bell. Whenever that happens, that's going to disable the farm completely, so it will stop running, so you don't break it further. So whenever that happens, you just want to flick the lever to turn off the farm, and then you can come in here. I've put a sign. You just remove that block, put it back in here, and then you want to check up your farm to see what happened to cause the bone meal supply to drop below this hopper. If you choose to use this bare bone version that I've included, there are a few wires that you'll need to wire yourself because, well, this is the bare bone version, and so if you want to make tweaks, you might want to change these things. So out of that, this includes the self-adapting bone meal intake wire. So you take this compare input, and you want to link it to, I think it's on the other side, yeah, to these magenta blocks that are going to change these pistons. And whenever you change how these pistons position, that's going to change how many dispensers you actually bone meal per cycle, and you want to keep control to that at all time to get as many stems as you can. Or you could straight up choose to only bone meal the centermost dispenser to get a little bit of bone meal return. If you wanted to, you could change the emplacement of the dispensers and put them back to the center of the farm, and then you will need to change these observers of the slider that are going to power through these plugs, and that way you can change the bone meal return, but that's also going to lower your rates of stems per hour and shroom lights per hour. I mean, everything per hour. And you also want to keep the actual bone mealing of the core that's in with these observers. You need to make sure that it keeps in check with every cycle that it pushes up or shifts the nylon. If you don't keep this synced, you're going to get some half cycles where you bone meal the fungi 3 times instead of 4, and that's going to lower the rates quite dramatically by like probably a few thousand stems per hour. It makes quite a big difference. So yeah, I guess that's pretty much the whole overview of this thing. So hope you enjoy it. I think it was a pretty fun project, and I'm happy that this Chinese dude beat my farm, so I could make a new one. That was a nice competition. And yeah, that's it. Thanks for watching.